So they took the artworks and such that they wanted to do in 11 and moved it on to Final Fantasy 12. 12, if I recall, it was designed to be both using some of the art stuff that they had for Final Fantasy 11, but also Final Fantasy Tactics.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I was going to say Tactics and Vagrant Story.
That's the one. Yeah, Vegas was the other one.
Now, I'm just going to put it out there. 12, like 95% of the costumes in 12 are actually dumpster. Like you got dressed in the dark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like
yeah.
I just like, and I'm sorry, I love Bosch, I really do, but what the hell is that your khaki shorts and your sandals like you're at like Disneyland, you're a tourist at Disneyland.
Just a reminder, this is a spoiler-heavy podcast. Different series that require a spoiler warning will be in the description. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gaming Theater Podcast. Today's episode is going to be part 2 of our Final Fantasy aesthetic costumes episode. So, in order to get us through this, let's quickly go through the people who and the guests that are going to help me out with that. And once again, my name is Leo. I'm your host, Geek Scorpio. And over here I have...
I'm Moontastical, back at you again.
I'm Liz, also known as Zombiehand.
Hey, I'm Kay, also known as Koglasain on the social medias.
Greetings, I am Brandon, also known as Tomatoman.
Now, before we get started, let's just take a quick trip to the magical merch booth. Here we are at the magical merch booth, but once again, we just have some notices that I want to make sure everybody's aware of, that we are still going to do several different charity events running through Extra Life and being sponsors for Extra Life during the month of November. Many of our gaming theater podcast groups, such as Zombiehand and Dane, are also going to be participating with doing stuff for Extra Life. And even Gaming Theater is going to have is going to once again do another podcast-based RPG, and we're going to take a look at that and when that comes available. And keep an eye out on X, formerly Twitter, on Facebook for notices about when these are coming on. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and get back to the show. On today's episode, we're taking a step back into the Final Fantasy games and their aesthetics. Just to catch everyone up to speed, Final Fantasy has been around for decades at this point, and their costumes and costume designs are always designed to fit the world of their game itself. And as such, there's several different people who have always cosplayed from Final Fantasy games. Some of these costumes for these characters are very well designed for them. Others can be kind of a joke or extremely difficult to put together, but they're always based on the aesthetic of the game itself. So before we get started, let's get back to where we kind of got halfway through with Final Fantasy VIII. Just as a reminder, Final Fantasy VIII was basically its costuming and its aesthetic was mostly the mid to late 90s as a modern take for that. So you have different people with different, more modern designs and aspects. I think we talked about Renoa's with that. What would you call it? The camisole or no?
No, camisole, I think's right.
And the arm sweaters.
The arm sweaters. Yeah,
Oh, I was thinking
Renoa
the shirt
had
under
arm
it
sweaters and things going on. And a puppy you could summon.
that you shoot.
Ooh. What?
Yeah, you launch the dog off of a wrist-mounted crossbow, basically.
What the heck?
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
it's one of the 3 characters you get to name in the game too.
Angelo.
I just think this guy with the fabulously long hair is amazing. I don't even know who he is.
Irvine.
Does he have a cowboy hat?
Not the cowboy hat one.
Is he in a blue jacket?
Oh, Laguna.
Yeah, that guy.
Laguna.
Laguna. Yeah.
Laguna
He's
Lior.
so good, but also part of the Bad Dad Final Fantasy Club.
Oh, I love the Bad Dad Final Fantasy Club.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really good.
I mean, not his fault though.
I mean,
Can someone actually
I
quickly
think-
explain to me what Final Fantasy VIII was actually about? Because I played most of that game and I still don't know what the hell is going on.
Time loop sorceress destroys herself technically.
yeah.
What?
I mean, look, I gave you a 1-sentence ad lib of it.
My confusion continues.
But actually, that does bring me to a point. Most of the characters on this is designed as sort of a modern, with the aesthetics around modern mid to late 90s fashion. Edda, the queen, not so much. She's got a helmet with a seashell on it and a giant, like, what would you call that? Like a giant feathered collar. Definitely about, she wants to take you down, but she's also going to the club.
She actually reminds me of like the in the 90s, the more alternative musics and the costumes would get pushed more and more extravagant, more and more weird, just so that they would get attention and they get noticed, especially like in Europe, because they have some crazy ass costumes to go with their singers. So that's kind of what she reminds me of. She reminds me of that like pop singer that's just like Lady Gaga and her crazy crap she wears. Kind of like that. That's the feeling that character gave me.
I just found out about the meat suit and am disgusted.
What, the Lady Gaga meat suit?
Yeah, the Lady Gaga meat suit.
Sorceress Adia she's literally a runway model. I mean, that's what her design just straight up is, whether it was intentional or not.
Oh yeah, that 90s art thrown at the wall type of fashion sense.
With a stone cold look and strut.
So we did talk a lot about Sophie, not so much about Quistis, except that she has a midriff, which was big in the 90s.
She's also a dominatrix.
Okay, but only because of the whip.
Yeah.
Well, and my friend's fan fiction, which I have now made into my own headcanon.
She's a dominatrix, but only in my fan fiction.
I said also because, not only because.
That's legit.
The best part is this dude's an actual writer too, and he was reviewing the game back in the day, and he's like, I need to make a dumb fanfic about this. And so he typed up like a 2 or 3 page fan fiction of Squall being completely oblivious and Quistis trying to get into his pants and literally whip him into shape. And he has sent it to me. I have it somewhere on my computer.
We'll add that to the fan fiction isekai thing that El Penguin should be writing soon. See the isekai episode for more details of that one.
I'm sorry. What?
What did I just say?
What are we whatting is the real question.
The El Penguin isekai
fanfic. It's
fanfic.
I don't remember it off the
about
top of my head, but there was one that him and D&D were talking about and it showed up, and it's in the isekai episode a couple of months back. So take a look at that if you want to know more.
Yeah, it's called How I Was Created in a Penguin World.
Could be. I don't think that's right, but I'm not enough to say it's wrong. Also, I think this is probably the one with the least amount of out there fashionist is Irvine of all things. Well, that and Zelda Knight. Irvine is a cowboy with a cowboy hat.
Got the duster and everything.
He is exactly what it says on the tin.
He's Australian.
Oh, good eye. Duster here.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Every time I think about, like, not every time, like I've watched Australian movies and stuff, but like when people start talking about like an Australian accent and trying to do one, I think of these old commercials for Foster's beer, which was an Australian brand, and
I don't think it is, because in Australia, everybody refers to that as piss.
Well,
Okay, well, I mean, just because even if it's bad, like,
yeah.
Anyway, it's a commercial that it shows like a guy being thrown. It's like at a beach, and it shows a guy being thrown across the screen, and he just is like, ah, and then you hear like a thunk, and then the narrator goes, javelin. Then he goes, Foster's, Australian for beer. But I love when he goes, javelin. Because like the dude flying across was the javelin. Oh god, I love it.
All right. So that being said, that we've gotten through. Does anything of anything more for Final Fantasy VIII on this?
I was just gonna say, each character actually kind of represents a fashion styling that was popular in the 90s. Because if you look at Squall, his whole design is very like not quite goth, but edgelordy. I mean, I'm not wrong. Multiple belts, has a black jacket, black pants, a little bit of fluff, long I don't care hair, and attitude to go with it. You've got Zell, who's all upbeat, beach blonde, wearing bright colors, shorts, short sleeves.
The Janko short jeans, Janko. What would you call that? Janko jeans, but they're also shorts. Janko shorts.
I didn't bother to learn what they were called. Sorry. And I mean, it just kind of always felt like their personalities weren't so much in their, I guess, their characterizations as much as it was in their style choice.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay.
Oh, I just found the dog screenshot. That's upsetting.
Well, you were going on the hunt. Like, I gotta see her shoot that fucking dog.
Oh my gosh.
Nah, I was just
What
gonna
the
say.
heck?
Oh, great. Now that clip of audio lives on the internet for free.
Well, I was gonna say the one thing about the 90s that I remember is they took weird stuff and glamorized it.
That was the Bejeweled kind of era.
Like, it so much was. It's like, I think that kind of explains like Irving's outfit. It's like, oh, he's got a cowboy hat, he's got a long, and I say this with quotation marks, duster coat, but it's so bougie and pretty looking.
It's so clean.
It's so clean, and he looks clean.
He's
And
not been on a trail.
The closest thing
it's
he's been to a
great.
trail is trail mix.
Exactly.
I also like that he's presented in the game as being a sharpshooting sniper, but it's like, motherfucker uses a shotgun. He can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah, that's a smattering of bullets, not a direct hit.
I hit my target. You hit a wall. One of these.
Look,
shit,
it was there. The target was there.
it got in my way. But yeah, like Selfie is cute and upbeat and has just one quick, simple, I think, overall dress is what she's wearing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
Yes.
coverall overall setup.
Like that with her hair and her shoes, she just looks like a Spice Girl fan.
I
girl.
hate her
Yeah,
hair so
the
much.
weird flipped out hair from like the 90s too.
It
was-
Ugh,
that
but
was
it's
weird
like way more
Curl
dramatic.
feathering. It's really
I had that hair, and
I tried
cringed.
so
I was gonna
hard,
say, do you
and my
regret it?
hair wouldn't do that.
I thought I looked so cool.
You did for the time.
Yeah, you would be cool for the 90s and both parts of the 70s.
Oh, I wasn't cool in the 90s. I had a bowl cut.
I can't
I am
help you
so
with that
sorry.
one.
It
There
is
is
what it
not a
is.
single decade I can make that one work.
No. But hey, that's okay, because my brother had a perm in the 80s, so
Nice.
yeah.
Oh man, I can still smell those chemicals in my
Oh,
dreams.
God.
Well, my mother had a perm in the 90s, so I guess,
So one thing before we move on, something that I always found was interesting with a lot of the characters that are in here for Final Fantasy VIII, they had actually multiple, and they were all designed with at least 3 different outfits. Mostly because they had most of them were always in these mercenary schools, right? The Seed. And so they had their regular everyday combat, the one that the outfit that they used when they were in training, and then the formal military outfit.
Yeah, they had their personal attire, which is what you see in most of the game, but they did have their cadet attire
Mhm.
and then their formal wear for graduation and all. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I just need to talk about Laguna's crop top jean shirt with the rolled cuffs.
Listen.
Man has style.
Okay.
Look,
I thought
this is so good. And he has high-waisted pants
I thought
that
we,
are a perfect silhouette for him.
I thought
He's
we were
got
gonna
it.
like talk about we were gonna like make fun of him, and I was about to be like, listen, it was the 90s, but no, you're
No.
right. He's got
This is a
style.
fantastic fashion piece even today.
That man has the goods, and he knows it.
Yeah, listen,
Yup.
if you're gonna be a Final Fantasy bad dad, you may as well at least look good.
And does he ever?
Yeah. Listen,
Him
I'm
and
pretty
Sephiroth
sure he knew that
Can
Rain
go
was
on
pregnant.
my shelf together. What?
I'm just saying for Brandon, I'm pretty sure he knew Rain was pregnant when he left and never came back. So sorry, bad dad. And then he never came back until she was dead. Okay? Sorry. Bad dad.
So
I stand by it.
I always interpreted it as he was still an active military and was sent off.
He
And-
was. You're not
Right, so-
wrong, but
so
he
while
could
he
have
was-
come back.
Well, the way I interpreted it, having fairly recently played it, was that she gave birth while he was gone with no one there, and no one was 100% who the child's father was put into the foster system. That's the way I had perceived that.
I did not perceive it the same way.
That's fine.
This is like a Edward Elric dad story all over again.
No, Edward
the dad
Elric's dad did
leaves.
just straight bail. There's no getting around that one.
I love Hohenheim. He was awful and great.
Yeah, he just was like, "Oh, children, no."
I've got to find out how to kill myself. It's more important than my kids.
You know what? That's fair. He's
I
got that.
sympathize,
The
but
children have been birthed from the womb. My job is done. Farewell.
So we're gonna add him to the bad dad list, because I think we should add him to the bad dad list.
I
Well,
never
he's
asked
on
for
time,
anything.
yeah.
He's not a Final Fantasy bad dad.
Hohenheim's whole thing wasn't even that. It was more a matter of the seed has been planted. My planet now needs me. I must go.
what story are we talking about?
Hohenheim.
Are we talking about Ego or Hohenheim?
Yes. Not wrong on on either, actually. I will reconnect when you're older.
Away I go. Okay, so I think at this point, let's move on to Final Fantasy IX. We still got 8 more of these Final Fantasies to go through.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, speed it up. No more Hohenheim.
Okay, so Final Fantasy IX comes out, and I feel that this has to be sort of presented. Final Fantasy IX has almost always been intended with back to form. I guess sword and board RPGs.
Traditional fantasy.
Spiritually back to Final Fantasy 1 is sort of how they saw that, right?
Yeah. Often referred to as Uematsu's swan song.
Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy IX was designed as a return to form sort of Final Fantasy games. And so because of that, even though they have these cooler graphics, they could make a lot more with it. They kind of wanted to treat the characters and the art style to be basically, hey, we can now just make our Final Fantasy version of our Final Fantasy game, if that makes sense.
I don't feel like I follow.
Good, because that didn't make sense in my head when I thought about it. But
I mean, when they say a return to form, they just mean like the 4-person party system, a little bit more in it with the feel of like earlier Final Fantasies, that kind of thing.
Channeling the fantasy element more so than the previous titles, which were very much so leaning more towards a modern industrial. What's the term I'm looking for? Not I guess it's like a more of like industrialized or
Pop fantasy.
Pop fantasy modernism. Yeah.
sure. Well, because like you had that even beginning with Final Fantasy VI, you got like this whole steampunk element kind of feel starting to show its face, getting more diesel punky with 7, and then more of a modern take in 8.
Right. So they wanted to go back to classic fantasy, at least look for it, with a twist. So I've heard its aesthetic style kind of described as fantasy punk.
Yes, I know a fact. I don't know how many other people know this. Did you know that Final Fantasy IX was inspired because of the Dark Crystal?
I
That
didn't
That
know
makes
that.
sense. Now a whole lot
It-
more of this just clicked into my head.
It makes
Yes.
it makes a lot more sense when you look at the design of the smaller creatures like VV and the rat folk.
Mhm.
Like that just screams Dark Crystal.
Yes. Yes. Toshiyuki, I'm gonna butcher this. Itahana, but he's the artist, and he felt it's like the Dark Crystal inspired him. And then when him and the other guy worked together, he was told, "I want you to make characters that had a feeling of life, like actually living in this imaginary world."
So this makes a lot of sense in other respects too, because with a lot of the work that Liz and I have been doing on another project, it's very clear that Uematsu was heavily inspired by cinema, um,
Mhm.
in many respects. Like, not only do you have the inspiration you say here from the Dark Crystal, but you also have inspirations from Hollywood in a general sense, with them doing a joint venture with EA in the US to open a studio there. And then even with Uematsu making the Final Fantasy movie, what, like a year after Nine's release, it came out?
Yeah, like 2001
Yeah, because
was when the
yeah,
movie
9 was
came out.
2000.
And like, dude, I'm just gonna say it, like, that movie holds up. Like, the graphics look a little bit dated now, but like even 15, 17 years after the fact, like they still looked damn good.
Oh yeah, there's still some very, very like grabbing like scenes and elements in that film. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, they went to war with Blizzard and kind of won in the graphics department at that point.
And this is before the cringy what is it, the uncanny valley of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they kind of skirted that line, so it didn't quite fall into Uncanny Valley, but they did also fall into the trend at the time of making everybody have like zero pores. So they still looked a little bit like, I mean, at least looking at it nowadays, like a little bit plastic.
It's like, why is your skin perfect?
Yeah.
They all have such impeccable skincare regimes.
Yeah, to the point where their pores have been burnt off their faces.
They've had a lot of dermaplaning. You dermaplane too much, your pores actually disappear, and that's not actually a good thing.
They have like one of those like 20-step Korean skincare routines.
Oh my god. Oh my god, those give me a headache.
Only
I
more
did
than
that for like a couple weeks and I gave up.
It's too much work.
It's too much.
My skincare routine has 4 steps, and that's wash face, toner, serum, moisturize.
Oh, mine has one: splash face with water.
I was gonna say 4 steps more than me there, man. Although I probably should do more.
I've made Leo even start getting into it more. I'm like, even if it's just lotion on your face, like put some moisture into your skin. But Leo has very dry skin.
I do, but
Yeah, I know, I've seen it.
where it gets the hose again.
Listen.
All right, which Final
Everyone needs more
Fantasy was
moisture in
based
their
off
life.
that?
Moisturize me.
What?
No.
Moisturize me, doctor. Ooh. It's gonna be me when I'm old with Ben and the old folks home. Like, babe, I'm dry. Moisturize me.
All right.
I live for it. You better be in the same old people's home as me.
What,
Do we want to
Brandon?
use this moisture element to move on to the tropical beach aesthetic of the following game?
See, perfect segue. My plan went off
I
without
do
a
want to
hitch.
mention that Beatrix is mommy.
God, I love Beatrix.
Beatrix is so hot. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
And she likes that dork Steiner.
It's
Listen,
that
who wouldn't?
it's that
Steiner's
hair over
adorable.
part of the face kind of aesthetic.
It's
The-
her titties out.
Look, if we're gonna talk about titties out, we need to go on to the next game.
No, we're
Yes,
not
yes.
done with 9.
We still got to get through
Absolutely.
9 and get some other stuff that's on
I
there.
love these golden ass segues that we can't take right now.
I
Good
know.
result for that.
Look,
It's-
apparently not a whole lot of us played a lot or enjoyed 9 enough to talk about that one for too long.
Hey, I
Oh.
beat that game like 3 times.
Look, there's one thing I will note about 9 is that a lot of its fashion aesthetic, because it goes back to the fantasy core elements, a lot of them are gonna be kind of pulled from past games, particularly from 5 and earlier.
Mhm.
Uh,
I mean, that's just given the nature of the fact that they did want to do kind of a throwback.
Yeah,
Correct.
Vivi is straight up a black mage, and
Oh,
Vivi's
yeah.
your black.
Yeah. Well, and so are the what are they called? The waltzes?
Yes,
The black
Yes.
waltzes?
they're
Yeah,
called
those
waltzes, correct.
Yeah, those are just fancy black mages.
They're super black
float.
mages.
Yeah, they're really
They can
powerful.
float and fly. They're the best model.
Yeah.
Garnet.
I paid a premium.
Dude, Garnet, I don't
Garnet
know.
Garnet is selfie mixed with somebody else.
I mean,
And
who
Renoa.
said orange bodysuit? Like, who?
I hate it.
The same
Someone
person
looked
who
at
put
her-
selfie in one.
Selfie is in a dress.
Yeah.
Mm,
And Selfie is
It is
adorable.
a dress, and it is
It's
a
still
very
single tone.
90s. It's a very 90s dress, though, and it actually has like form. It is like it's got the 90s style in the.
you want to look at that
across-
concept art that Leo sent again?
I'm not talking about the concept art. I'm talking about what we got in game.
Yeah, you want to look
But-
at that character artwork again?
Selfies?
Yes.
I know what she looks like. It's a yellow dress, and look, it's not the most like flattering yellow dress, but that was the 90s.
Yeah,
But still single tone.
I don't care about the single tone. I'm saying Garnet is wearing a single toned orange fitted bodysuit.
There's
Yeah.
some white there.
Yeah, in the shirt underneath. But I'm just saying,
Look at me
Fitted
defending 9 and I
bodysuit.
have the least experience with it.
fitted bodysuit. It's hideous. I hate it.
hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it.
But
I
her,
loved her wedding dress though.
yeah, her wedding dress. I don't even think it's actually like she wasn't getting married, but you know what? It looks very much like a wedding dress, and it was beautiful.
Oh my god. That was,
Speaking
oh
of
my
wedding dresses, we can move on.
God.
That's
We're still
3
talking
segues.
about 9.
Segue number 3 is the one that's gonna get me going to number 10.
Can we talk about Queena? What about Queena's fashion?
Oh my god, I love Queena so much. I just want to live
I
Queena's
love-
life.
I love that Queena was canonically a they them.
I
but
know, I
also
thought that
because
was funny.
Nobody could tell what gender they were, so they were like they them.
And everybody was just way too scared to ask.
Yeah, but I mean, like, fair, you know,
I like
it's
Freya's
nobody's
design.
business.
I love Freya's design. She is like, that is a super beautiful tribute to dragoons. You know, I know it wasn't like armor and crap like that.
It was a tribute to dragoons in a lot of
Beautiful.
respects that was kind of tied into like like Renaissance-y kind of attire.
Mhm.
Yes, that hat was very, very Three Musketeers sort of.
And the tabard that she wears on her chest, you know, that was very big back in the Renaissance
Yeah,
area.
Freya's
Era.
design. Freya's design is amazing.
I actually think that one could easily say 9 was a Renaissance aesthetic. Like, even when you look at a lot of the variety of towers and buildings, like, they really were of like that just pre-Renaissance kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if we want to, we can move off of 9 over to the beach episode. That is Final Fantasy X.
Oh, 10 is amazing.
Ha 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 ha! There, I made the
All right,
joke.
but you know the meaning behind that scene,
I
right?
do know the meaning behind it. Yes.
All right, I just want you to know I met James Arnold Taylor, and he also loves that scene, but like not as a meme.
Well, yeah, he loves it non-ironically, whereas anyone
But also
else
he did
loves it,
he did
loves
meme it
ironically.
though. He did meme it though. Yeah, okay, listen, I'm just gonna say the asymmetrical shorts, overalls,
Titus's
shortalls.
look? Yeah.
Yes. I'm not my favorite. The vest with the shortalls, asymmetrical shortalls, not my favorite, but it is his look. And
he owns it. I will give you that.
He does. He owns it, and by, after a little while, you just don't even care anymore. It's just like, yep, that's it. And now it's not as, I don't know, like I don't look at it and go, man, that's hideous. Like I definitely have grown accustomed to it, but I do think there are better designs.
Oh yeah. There was a point Titus from Final Fantasy X was the poster child for on TV Tropes' site for jumping into I forget what they called it. I believe they called it your dumpster fire fashion, because it looked like he jumped into a dumpster, picked out 4 things, and left. Called it a day.
It's disgusting.
Also, as a note, we're like, I think all of us here say Titus rather than Titus, so that's what we're saying. But we recognize that some people say Titus or
Correct.
Titus.
I actually went to school with a gentleman whose name was Titus, and
Was it Titus, like from the Bible?
It was spelled the same as Titus from Final Fantasy X, and he pronounced it Titus.
Nice,
yeah, he
but
was,
I mean,
I think 1 or 2 years behind me, but yeah. So
I do believe in Japanese it's written as Titus though, or Tita.
correct. It's the same reason why it's Tifa. The
Right.
I is emphasized in that manner, just the way that their language is done.
To everybody I went to school with that said Tifa.
I wanted to punch everyone who said that. I swear to God. You just triggered my stomach acids.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. Consume
That's all good.
Prilosec.
Eat Prilosec.
Consume Prilosec.
But anyway, yeah, so he definitely did not get his dad's fashion sense.
Which
because
is
his dad
exclusively
wore
pants.
board shorts
And that's it.
and like leather board shorts and a side skirt and so a little bit of armor, and like, you know what, good for him. I love Jecht. I am not a Jecht apologist though. He was not a nice man. He was a very bad dad.
He was a freaking douche.
He was very
was a
bad
villain.
dad.
He just was a villain.
No,
Yeah, his
not.
mom wasn't any better.
No, I don't think that.
So
his
I'm
mom
calling
was
him
any
a
better.
villain in the fact of how he chose to quote
I think-
unquote be a parent. Like that.
I mean,
that decision was villainous.
Yes, but that's on a completely different scale than the game is putting it on, because he is a Titus villain, but him being Sin is even like, he's still not a villain. He was holding Sin at bay.
Yeah,
and then when given
and
the chance, he was like, here's how, I'm going to give you guys the idea of how to keep Sin more at bay so that we can get it all set up for the big,
he's
final thing.
Like, technically Jecht is the hero of the game, because were it not for his decisions, there would not have been a break in the cycle.
Right.
So, I mean, I say he's a villain because in the past he was a villain, his character was villainous, but his redemption arc was literally as impactful as it could have possibly been.
He was a villain for Titus, not for the game. And
right.
I that's one of my favorite aspects, is how when Titus gets to like Spira, even though anyway, technicalities aside, when he gets to Spira and everyone's like, oh my god, Sir Jecht, I loved him, and he's like, the hell, who did you meet? Because that's not my dad. And then
that
you
person
kind of
is not the same person.
Yeah, but then you get to like uncover Jack's journey and him realizing like I messed up. I really treated my kid like shit. I recognize now that that's what I did, and I just hope that he sees this so that he can know that I understand that I messed him up and I'm sorry.
Can
So,
we talk about this lady LeBlanc?
Oh my
Like,
god. Well, she's from
tits
10
out.
she's from 10 too. So.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
you're
she's from
Ted
10
too.
yeah,
too.
you're in the
Okay.
wrong game with
We'll
the
hop
with
to
that
that
too.
one
Wah,
briefly for just a
Oh
wow.
second.
my
But
god,
That crew is great
LeBlanc
though.
though.
mm,
Yes.
so, before we go take a quick side trip over to 10-2, let me. There's a couple of characters on here, major characters I want to include.
Lulu.
Lulu.
She is
If you
Bae.
want, is like probably the best example of I'm a Final Fantasy character and I'm goth is Lulu.
Um, so when I think of Lulu, I think of exactly two things. One is tits.
Uh-huh.
Two is belt.
Well, yeah, that's because those are her
Her
primary.
whole dress is made of belts. Like, I
Okay,
wish
so
that was an exaggeration.
no, her dress is made
No,
of
you
belts.
don't.
But
You're right,
here's
I
the
don't.
thing about that. Lulu's character was one that the art team was very spiteful about with the animation team. And so essentially, and you'll see this if you played through Final Fantasy X, in nearly the animation team, because in Final Fantasy X they had gorgeous animatics for what, and it's the first game that they wanted to do as much animatics as they can, and as much voice acting as possible that they could get away with.
I've got
So
stories on that too.
there is a so with that Lulu's character um was being tossed around between the animation and the art team. So when you're drawing Lulu as an artist, the art team was mad at from what I've understood, the art team is mad at the animation team. So to kind of get back with them, they put Lulu in a belt-filled dress because with every belt that's on there, you have to animate each individual belt.
Well, so not in like in game.
Mhm.
They made that just like one solid skirt that moved as one skirt,
Yeah,
Right.
but
it's
in
one
any
texture in
full
gameplay.
yeah, in any FMV, yes.
Yeah.
They did do that. Um they did do most of the belts separately, and I imagine that's probably why you don't generally see Lulu in motion
That's
in
why
full
she is.
motion videos.
It's why she's mostly waist up. Uh,
Yeah, I
in
was gonna
Yeah.
say
the FMVs.
she's generally waist up or not fully in motion.
Mhm. But
And I
love
want to
her
call this
look, by
out.
the way, though.
Oh, absolutely.
She is
But I do have to call out
fantastic.
that this is also a game where Square made a very, very bad choice in that they had two different art directors for the game, one for in-game art assets and one for the FMVs, and it was a very jarring difference with their facial designs.
Mhm.
Specifically
Yeah.
Titus. It is just Titus and to a lesser extent Riku, but it was very, very like not okay different.
Another
Yeah.
character I've got to. So they wanted to give, I guess you would want to call it punk art traditional. Arin is definitely the samurai, but man, does he have a look.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
yeah,
so
of
it
course.
I mean, it's weird too because he's got a great sword. That's what it is. But
Mhm.
the first weapon is just called katana. It's like no, that's not. You're just wrong.
But he has this cool little giant jacket, and I know his inspiration was the aesthetic for Ronins from the movie Yojimbo and a
Oh
couple of
yeah,
Kurosawa films. And so they wanted to get that look, especially for the I'm resting my arm inside my
Well, that was actually like sort of historical
yeah.
because if you are a disgraced samurai, um you wear one arm out of its sleeve like that, and Arin is disgraced.
Mhm.
Given his story and how everything ended with the previous pilgrimage, he is disgraced.
Oh yeah.
which I guess that's an interesting thing to bring up too because that's storytelling within it the fashion design
Yeah, and like
of
it
the
would be
character.
I feel like people would be forgiven for not, you're in this fantasy world where you're getting all sorts of inspirations from different things. And so maybe you just look at Arin and are like, oh, that's cool. He it's a samurai, but he's got his arm out, and maybe you wouldn't think, oh, he's definitely disgraced, because it just might also be aesthetic. But a lot of
Like the
people
cool
who are
guy in the corner.
familiar,
Yeah.
but people who are familiar with samurai would probably look at him and understand, like, he's been disgraced in the past.
It's definitely one of those cultural cues that, like, you have to know about it in order to be like, oh, there's deeper meaning to this.
Yeah, and Arin definitely has a big role to play in the past, and why he's, like, nobody told him to do that. He wasn't, he wasn't publicly disgraced, but he knows what he did,
He knows
or
what
what
he
he
did, and he's
didn't
going
do.
to. Yeah.
He knows that he cowered it out.
Another
he's
one
hot.
is Yuna's look, though.
Also very traditional Japanese.
Very priestess.
Yes. She's
Which
got, like,
I
a
guess is
kimono.
appropriate.
Yeah, but she's also got a kimono. Like, it's very, like, very much just like a kimono look.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Can we also talk a little bit? I don't know the foundations for it, but Kimari is very tribal, and that makes sense given who the Ronso, or like what the Ronso do and who they are and such. Them being tribal makes a lot of sense, and I really love his design a lot.
I get a lot of Inuit mixed with, like,
Polynesian tribal.
Yeah, a little bit of that too, for sure.
And
just because, like, the mountainous culture.
And there are a lot of Polynesian references throughout
Final Fantasy
10. Yeah.
I will note that it took me for absolute ever to finish his battle with his two Ronso brethren, because I was stupid child and not using Lancet to wreck house like you're supposed to, because that's what the game is trying to teach you. So yeah, I made
B-Ron and Yankee.
Thank you. I remembered B-Ron, but I'm like, I'm not gonna even try the second one because I know I'm gonna be wrong. It's been way too long.
Would you be your B wrong?
Shut
No,
up.
B-Ron is B-Wrong. We welcome Kimari Ronso back into tribe.
So before we move on to the first attempt at an MMO for Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 10 is 10 and 10-2 is one of the earliest games where they decided, fine, we'll do a spin-off.
We'll do a direct
It's not a
sequel.
spin-off, it's a direct sequel. And I think it is actually the first one they did, because I don't think Final Fantasy IV The After Years came out until after 10-2.
Correct. That one came out on the Wii and then later the PSP.
Yeah. So 10-2 was a direct sequel. It actually takes place 2 years after the events of 10, and in my opinion, very important to Yuna's growth as a person. Like,
yes,
like the growth that comes, or not growth, but like loving and losing, and realizing that, like, you can move on after falling in love and losing somebody.
The problem with that, though, is the game totally spits in your face with that if you get
only if you get the perfect ending,
which is considered the true ending,
which is incredibly hard to get. Like, generally, you're not gonna get the true ending for 10-2, but Yuna's, anyway, the journey overall, like, it doesn't, Titus coming back at the end doesn't undermine anything. Like, she still went through the growth. She still, she learned that. And yeah, the game kind of undermines that by being like, hey, you've grown, here, have back the thing that you lost. But I do feel like most people will not see the true ending their first time through. And I feel like it's more impactful that you don't get Titus back.
Oh yeah.
Because then you really, like, her whole journey really comes around to, it's okay to have loved, it's okay to have lost, and it's okay to still miss that, it's okay to move on, and it's okay to still miss that. Like, she really pines for that, and she went 2 years without anything, suddenly saw this sphere who looks like Titus, and she's like, oh my god, that could be him. And if it's not, she's still okay, but it's okay also that she got her hopes up. And I don't know, that's off topic, but I really enjoy 10 too. It's very silly. It does take a while to get to like the really good story, but when you start really learning about Len and Shuyin, some good shit.
So the character that Kate was mentioning earlier, that one,
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
She is tits out and tummy out and legs out.
Oh my gosh. And she has this like iron fan thing.
Yeah, oh my god. Actually, Kate, look up Final Fantasy X Donna, Dona.
Oh god, yeah. Doesn't she have like a major like everything change between 10 and 10-2?
I genuinely do not remember her in
Oh
10.
my gosh, how does her skirt stay on?
Okay, so yes.
It's got multiple ties around. Don't you see?
So this cosplayer nightmare over here.
I'm
of an
going to quickly
outfit.
gloss over 10-2's insane hair growth for Yuna. In 2 years, she grew like 4.5 feet
Okay.
of hair.
To be fair, I think that is an extension.
Yeah,
with
it
It's
is.
an extension.
I'm just
Yeah.
cracking wise. I just wanted to throw that.
Okay,
But-
I didn't think. I thought you might have been serious, and I was gonna be like, I was like, no, her hair growth is really. Oh, I see.
That's totally natural hair. Yeah,
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
she chopped off
100%.
and then held on to put at the end of this tassel.
Yeah.
I
but
hate this character clothing so much.
Which
the,
one?
Donna.
I know,
LeBlanc
it's
I
so-
and her
freaking
clothes-
hate Donna's clothes. What the hell?
I
That's
don't
all I
know.
have to ask.
It's like somebody looked up BDSM and was like, well, it kind of looks like this.
It's like, oh crap, we designed her dress the wrong way. I'll leave it. It's fine.
Yeah, fine.
It fan.
The best thing about this, if you're wanting to get into a crazy amount of fashion, 10-2 legitimately, for its classes, has a thing called the dress spheres.
I love
Oh.
the costumes.
Some of them are pretty hideous, but
Uh-huh.
some of them are really cute.
You gotta mix and match. The white mage, pretty cool. I like that one.
I like the blackjack. Those ones are very interesting. If you want, how in the hell does that stay on?
I love the berserker outfits.
You know what I love? The mascots.
Oh, the mascots are fun.
That's true. They just are in mascots clothing, and you just can alternate these clothes. So you know what?
Well, it's a job class system also.
Yeah.
So because when you're changing clothes, you're changing your job class, which is, it's a strategic form of gameplay where you've got to like. I mean, I know that there's gonna be people who heavily disagree with me complimenting the game at all, but
Yeah.
like you have to change your tactics, or like, oh, I got into this battle, I need to do, this would be the better option to have, things like that. And so it is very much like a precursor to the job class system in MMOs, but also a callback to the job classes of yore.
Of ancient and yore. Personally though, the
15
black
years
mage
earlier.
has very little to look for except like a black mage, except that is a fantastically large hat that everyone has to wear.
Yes.
Are we?
I like
Okay, we're a black mage. What does the black mage have? A large yellow hat. Not on my watch.
if
I
I'm remembering
think Yuna's is
correctly,
pink.
there what they all are a little bit, if we're being honest. If I remember right, there's some enemies in 8 that were used kind of as a design basis for LeBlanc's team.
Oh.
Like they were like, because it's a group of 3 that Laguna fights with his group.
Oh my god, I
They're-
know who you're
Yeah, they're
thinking
the bright
of.
colored, like they're very brightly colored, but they have the same color palettes that LeBlanc's crew does. And that's one thing I always
Hideous.
like clicked to. I was gonna say loud. Their color and design is loud. But also I just got to share this image with everybody here, which makes it look like LeBlanc is receiving something that she shouldn't be.
Good old LeBlanc. You are.
Is this the
Listen-
massage mini
Listen,
game?
that little minigame just like made me so
No,
uncomfortable.
This
can
is
I
the massage
can I
minigame,
tell
yeah.
you a story about this mini game?
I always
Yeah,
tried to break her
we'll
back.
go up until.
It's funny when you do that.
When that game first came out, I got it and I was playing it downstairs on the big TV. Because I didn't have a TV in my room yet. And so I was downstairs playing it. My dad was at work. My mom was upstairs. I think I was like 14 when it came out. It came out in 2002?
10-2?
Yeah.
I think it was 03.
I'll double check. Keep going though.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, I was either 14 or 15. And I I got to that scene where you have to give her a massage and I just didn't understand it. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I have never paused a game so fast than when my mom came out of her sewing room upstairs because she would keep the door closed and watch movies and stuff. I'm giving LeBlanc a massage and she's like, "Oh, yes." And it's like dramatic and everything. And I'm like, this is so wildly uncomfortable. Like, I'm uncomfortable with this whole thing that's happening. And then my mom opens the door and comes downstairs. And like, if you go too long without actually like doing anything, LeBlanc will get mad at you. I've never paused a game so fast than my mom coming downstairs while LeBlanc is moaning.
So, speaking of the class systems and such for it, and away from LeBlanc and awkward moments, after the 10 and 10-2, we move over to Final Fantasy 11. Final Fantasy 11 was Final Fantasy's first time trying to do an MMO, and hit or miss, it had a decent system, but the way it did it, which I thought was interesting and will be a precursor to Final Fantasy 12, was that they made more realistic animations. They used 10 as they used Final Fantasy 10 as the template for the human in class, and then they used that to adjust classes for everyone else. So they really got into the MMO craze that was popping up. By the way, for the record, 10.2 was released in March of 2003. 2003.
Really trying to figure out how to say 2003 as 2003.
Yeah, I did. I tried to solve that riddle. Didn't come out. But, so Final Fantasy XI went back into the drawing board and took parts and pieces of classes that they wanted to keep. They stuck with the classics, the warrior, the black mage, the white mage. I went with the red mage was my main because that guy had a really big hat, and I was sold by that hat.
Leo, master of hats.
No, just that one.
One hat.
I have a bad history with FF11. I didn't get very far in that game. Now, that also didn't mean I didn't spend a lot of time in that game, and that's my problem.
Damn.
So, with that being said, they took on different classes for it. The neat thing that they did with that, which I thought was a genius. So, you would have a primary class, and then you could pick a secondary class, and your secondary class was you half the level of whatever your primary class was, and they could level up to that. So you could be a warrior and a white mage. You could be a black mage and a red mage. Or I ran a red mage with a white mage, which meant I was full of healing and support.
Nice.
So you could mix and match your spells like that, but also because of that, you can mix and match your outfits. You can equip a thing for a white mage and a red mage for it. So you could have a giant hat and a big white fluffy coat too. But I think there was only like, 10, 11 classes in that thing?
I never played it, and I'm not, excuse me, overly familiar with it.
That's okay. Final Fantasy XI was doing okay because this is when MMOs exploded on the scene, but Final Fantasy XI got shot out by a slightly bigger MMO you may have heard of, World of Warcraft.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so I will explain that to you after the podcast and give you some shame on it.
I was a Guild Wars player.
Mm-hmm. Guild Wars, I think, also came out around this time too.
I played very little of Final Fantasy XI, particularly because of the difficulty with getting play online to function correctly on my end. And then the fact that the way you moved was you click and drag up to walk forward
Hmm.
was absolutely insanely obnoxious. And it actually made me send a very nasty email to Play Online telling them that they ruined what should have been an amazing experience.
I didn't start playing any MMO until I started 14 last August.
I
When I
helped
was
with that.
last July when I was working graveyards, and it was very slow and boring, and I had a lot of time.
So after FF11, it gets swallowed up because of the MMO craze gets get shot in the foot once WoW hits this scene. It took a lot of people away from other MMOs. But their class, it was kind of interesting to see their art style go to a more, I would say, realistic style of artwork. Like everything that they did looked like something that would feasibly exist. Unlike, Nova's costume from FF 2, which is holding on by a string and a prayer.
Whose?
That costume, what's her name?
Did you say Nova
Maybe. I don't remember her name.
from 10-2?
Yeah.
LeBlanc?
No, oh,
Yes.
Donna.
Donna. Not
Donna
Nova.
from 10. Okay.
Oh, Donna from 10. Yeah. No, Donna from 10, her outfit is being held together by a string and a prayer. And the string's on the front side, if you
Well,
ever
and
see.
she's also got that thong on underneath.
Yeah. Leaves little to the imagination.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna move on to the next after FF11 being both, depending on who you were talking to, a hit or a miss, a lot more miss than hit,
In your opinion.
in my opinion, and I have no idea if I know anyone who's still playing FF11.
I don't know.
Still servers.
I'm
Oh,
in a
there are? Okay.
JRPG group on Facebook, and a lot of people in there do talk about how much they loved 11.
Yeah, it still has functional servers, and there are still people that do play it.
Oh, cool.
Huh.
Go 11. You're lasting
14's
longer than
superior in
many
every
of the
way.
MMO.
They have really good music. 11 has such good music.
So they took the artworks and such that they wanted to do in 11 and moved it on to Final Fantasy 12. 12, if I recall, it was designed to be both using some of the art stuff that they had for Final Fantasy 11, but also Final Fantasy Tactics.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I was going to say Tactics and Vagrant Story.
That's the one. Yeah, Vagrant Story is the other one.
Now, I'm just going to put it out there. 12's, like 95% of the costumes in 12 are actually dumpster. Like you got dressed in the dark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like
yeah.
I just like, and I'm sorry, I love Bosch, I really do, but what the hell is that your khaki shorts and your sandals like you're at like Disneyland, you're a tourist at Disneyland, and he's got his, oh god, and like I don't know, like I know nobody likes Vaughn, but I feel like he's probably one of the better dressed characters.
Vaughn.
I like
I
Vaughn
was
too.
endearing.
I like Vaughn too, but a lot of people hate him.
You guys are both objectively wrong. Bosch is the
Prove
best
it.
dressed.
Bosch is what?
Oh, not Bosch, excuse me, Balthier.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh, Bobby.
I rest my
love Balthier.
case.
Nobody said that Vaughn was the best. We just said that we like Vaughn.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I heard someone say one of the best dressed in the game, and I'm like,
Oh
excuse
no, that's
you.
I did say that Vaughn is one of the best dressed in the game. That's not saying that he is the best dressed in the game, because Balthier is, even with his stupid shoes.
Also, Ash.
Ash.
No.
Ash is not well dressed.
I like her character.
I love her character.
You can love her character. That doesn't
Listen.
mean she didn't get dressed
her
in the
hot
dark.
pink stripper skirt and her like super
Listen.
fancy top.
And I love it.
That wedding dress was hideous. I hate it, and I want to stab whoever designed it.
I love her wedding dress.
It's ugly.
You guys are about to
It
have a
looks like
fight.
something some heiress whose daddy showed her love by giving her money would buy because she thinks that her Instagram followers
Oh my
would like
god.
it.
I love her
Fantastical. Have
wedding
you not played
dress.
the game? That
Yes,
sounds.
I have.
I was gonna say that sounds an awful lot like her backstory.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, she was a princess. She wasn't.
Yeah, Daddy gave her that dress.
Larsa
Well,
is also
Daddy
very
has terrible taste.
Larsa is also very well dressed. At least they gave the child some good clothes. The judges all look amazing in their armors.
Speaking
I'm not
of
gonna lie, I
armor,
still love Fran.
thank you. I was
Dude,
gonna
love her
say.
Fran, yeah, she looks really good, and she definitely rocks the Vieira clothes. I know she is a Vieira, and therefore has no choice but to rock the Vieira clothes.
She
But
absolutely does, though. She had choice. She was booted out of the Enclave or whatever.
yeah, but she's still a Vieira.
Yeah, that doesn't. The Enclave is, I think, isn't that what dictates the wear? She could technically wear normal clothes
Oh, I mean, I guess if she wanted to, but why would you want to when you look as good as Fran
when you
does?
look that good. Exactly.
Yeah.
Looks like she belongs in a dungeon, if you know what I mean.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, my dungeon.
Fran is great. Also, I really love the voice acting in 12. I think it has such a really neat quality.
It's
to
very, very good. And the sound design also, I have to note, I know this has nothing to do with it, but the fact that the areas you're in, they apply the appropriate filters. Like when you're in a dungeon, you hear an echoiness to the voices, and when you're in a field, you hear just the clarity. It's like this is good sound design. I like it.
Yeah. I just always remember I love the I just really love the voice acting, and like there's something about the quality of the voice acting, like the way it's recorded sounds like they might have been a little too close to the microphone, but it was cleaned up really nicely, and so it just sounds very personal. It sounds very nice, and I love it.
I feel a little attacked on this podcast for not editing as much as I could.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Sorry. Yeah, so anyway, I think 12 has a very uh has a very interesting, like so many people just look like hot messes, and I love Bosch, but I am sorry, he is a hot mess
Look,
in that outfit.
do we want to talk about how they gave Rex female protagonist clothes?
Have you seen half of the soldiers in that game? They all got female protagonist clothes.
Yeah. Here's the thing that we appreciate around here.
Yeah, but no,
Oh my god, you were not here for the Mobius Final Fantasy conversation.
Yeah.
correct.
This
I
is-
was not. Please enlighten
Where
me.
I got to talk to everybody about the original armor designs for Mobius Final Fantasy. Do you remember that? When Mobius was first coming out?
I remember Mobius, and I remember that they shut everything down.
Yeah, so very early on, I'm gonna do this super quick rundown, Leo. So when they were first announcing Mobius Final Fantasy, they had released like images, to promote the game, and when they oh my god, it's the fucking best. Sorry for swearing. So this was the original design for the character.
Everyone gets
Okay.
midriffs.
So he's got that full open side. It's backless and just has some straps holding it together.
So he
like-
just walked out of ER.
Yeah, so and you see like he's like, woof, we would put women in that, right? So there was a massive outcry against from the men, the insecure, frail men folks, who decided they hated it, and so the game covered them up, and it was a travesty.
The tragedy of our time.
Yeah, so that second one is how they actually like went and gave him a full outfit. Oh, I found another one before they censored his outfit. Apparently one of his alternate outfits, he yeah, so anyway, that was it. I remember when being in the midst of it when they were announcing it, and then when they were censoring it because there was an outcry and it was so stupid. But anyway, back on topic. Brandon and
Back
I
on
can talk more
topic,
about
so
that later.
FF12, everyone there decides, you know what, everyone gets midriffs. Everybody. That's standard
Everyone
issue
here
already.
gets midriff tops.
So I'll say, at least with that, being as majority of the characters, at least in early game, and the
I'm gonna
area,
disagree already with the desert argument.
very Arabian inspired in some respects, which is
Some
probably why
respects.
everybody's dressed like Aladdin.
I just feel like in the desert, you generally are gonna wear more to protect yourself.
I
But
agree with that, but that's not the way they paint Aladdin.
he's so poor he can't afford nice clothes until he's Ali Ababa.
So with that, it has to deal with fabrics on there. So in those areas, one of the most treasured fabrics is silk because they're tough and it can take a brutal beating and it's super lightweight. You will not cross a desert with thick sheep wool all over yourself. You will die from heat, with the exception of the one desert that is like super cold.
I mean, deserts get really cold at night.
Yeah, layers, people, layers. All right. So moving on from Final Fantasy 12, we move on to Final Fantasy 13.
The sci-fi one.
Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy 13, I thought was interesting, is that they had legitimate fashion designers work on Final Fantasy 13's aesthetics for all their characters, especially Lightning.
Yeah.
There was a point that Louis Vuitton was using Lightning as a model. Yeah.
They actually Louis Vuitton didn't use Lightning as a model, or like didn't design for Lightning. They actually made clothes that were then digitized and Lightning was put into for an ad campaign.
Right, that's what happened there.
Yeah, so Lightning, though, I feel, takes what was unfashionable about Ash's outfit and made it a little bit more fashionable, but also in a military setting because she is, in fact, in the military or in the army. I love Lightning. She's my wife. I think she's a lot of people's wives. But yeah, then you have, I think that there was a lot more coherency to the outfits in 13, but it's because they drew from like a sci-fi, from more of a sci-fi setting. And even I think 13 too, I think we should just group the 13 trilogy as one, otherwise we'll be here forever.
Yeah.
13, even 13
all
2
over here.
has like Sarah's outfit is like, it's very cute, it's very girly, it fits her and her personality very well. Still, generally practical in the sense of any Final Fantasy outfit before 16
practicality and Final Fantasy outfits are few and far between.
And hers, like, I think Noel's is a little less practical, but he also comes from a tribal future where he like, clothing is a little more scarce, so he's got his is he wearing Janko jorts too? I can't remember. But like him and Caius and Yule, who are all from that same future, all have very much similar, like, I want to very gently say tribal, because they've got like some aspects of it, but still very like modern style aesthetics. Like,
Dude, Caius is wearing straight pink camouflage.
I love Caius. Ice!
He's just wearing pink camouflage. Like, was the main designer taking a break? That's on playing a punk. Are we being punked?
Isn't he in purple?
That's purple freaking camouflage.
Wait, are we talking about the big villain?
Yeah, Caius.
Because he's not wearing camouflage.
I don't
He
see
wears,
what
like,
you're
His
leather.
headband.
Oh yeah, his stupid headband. Yes.
That's the stupid headband. It's like, you couldn't have left that off. That looks stupid.
Yeah,
I
but you
actually
see, like,
almost cosplayed him.
I love him, but you see, like, we've got a little bit of that tribal element going on with like the beading and the hair, and even his sword. If you look at his sword, it's even got like the rings, like he pierced his sword, and not even
pierced his sword.
So those
No,
are
I'm seeing
actually,
it. Yeah.
those are actually there's swords like that have the rings, and they're for extra weight. So when you slash and kill, you can dig deeper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it makes it like top heavy, like a big old heavy axe will.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
But you see, he's
And
a
also,
protector.
when rings cling together, they ward off ghosts. But I don't think that's what that's there for.
Oh. But you can see even like he's a warrior, so in his
Yeah.
design, it's more practical for what he uses it for. He protects Yule. Noel used to be well, he is still a protector of Yule, but anyway, like his is a little bit more because he's more, I think, like stealthier, or like he's just quicker on the attack, and so his allows
Oh.
for better movement.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
stealthy with the purple camo. That'll keep it.
no, I mean, like he just moves faster.
Yeah.
And also Caius or Noel's not wearing purple camo.
It is a wave design.
I'm talking about Noel, not Caius.
Okay. His headband is a wave design, not camo.
And then Lightning Returns just really goes off the deep end with the outfits. Like, some of them really are just there for fan service, and I'm just gonna say it. I think I said it before, might have been in the last podcast. Her purple suit with Cloud's bracer is all you will ever need. Makes her into a tank. She hits hard, she defends hard, and it's amazing all around. But aesthetically, she has like 97 outfits now in that game. Like, so many were released as like DLCs and like crossovers and such. Like, you can even get in 13.2 Commander Shepard's armor for Noel and Sarah.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's like so many different crossover events, and then they just kept like, here's more outfits that do different things, and it, some of them are just palette swaps of each other, and some of them are like dude, hideous, but some of them are really cute. But I'm just saying, the purple suit, prime, top tier, aesthetically and functionally.
It does two things really well.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I put the sunglasses on her too, for funsies, and because she looked like a badass when she was wearing those. I think I have a picture saved somewhere. Let me put my cross stitching down.
Whilst that's happening, so 13 goes kind of madcap with the costuming. So, which kind of makes sense when you move on to the next one, which is, an MMO that was done so well they had to do it twice.
Okay, well, it wasn't done well the first time. That's why they did it twice.
And that's why it's sarcasm. But 14, FF14, the giant MMO, which has glamour and costumes for days.
Like, dude, you can't even say like, oh, the base costumes are they fall in line with this, because you know what? There's so many different, even outfits if you don't spend money in Mog Station. Like, there's so many. Like, in game, I have gotten Squalls, Furians, Zidane, and
Did you
who's
get
the
yourself
other
some Jenko shorts?
No, Giselle's not one of them.
Thank God.
But you can get those in the game.
Yeah, you can get something similar to it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Zell glamours.
But there, it's that one really goes off the rails, because you will get so many different kinds of just so many different kinds of outfits and glamours and such, and yeah, you can mix and match all of that.
I played that one for about 10 hours and then I went back to Neverwinter.
I have not put in as many hours as some people have.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who have put thousands of hours in. I'm just sitting at about 250, and I need to get more time so I can play more. But
I think I'm at about 3,000 hours.
So
hell yeah.
I'm one of those weirdos that didn't have a problem with the original build of 14, and my name's in the credits because of it.
Hey.
Yay!
And when they did that whole, like, I have to emphasize this part, which was really cool. The last event was an end of the world event for the original build, and that was made into the opening cinematic for A Realm Reborn.
I did know that.
So
My
that's
friends
really
told
freaking
me.
cool that, people got to actually participate in the essentially the prequel to the game. But yeah, I was level like 43 when A Realm Reborn launched because they let me carry my level over. Like,
Nice.
I'm a bit overpowered.
All right, Moon. I know you have a thing about the wedding dress in this 14 in FF14. Your time to shine.
Hold on.
But I do like that there's a lot of these costume aesthetics that you want to dress go out fighting as a maid. We got you. You want to go out in a school skirt with a denim denim top. We got you on this one.
You want to just
Yeah.
wear your bikini and put the elephant head on? We got you, boo.
Yeah, sometimes, like, whenever I log in, I'm like, what is my character feeling today? And then I'm like, I like think about it and I'm like, okay, I think we're feeling a little slutty today. And then I'll go and find something like a little bit slutty, or
Hell
like, oh,
yeah.
I'm feeling really regal today or whatever. But yeah, so it's just you gotta, gotta feel what you're feeling.
It's like there's so many outfits now. If you want to look like a Starbucks barista, you can look like a Starbucks
Oh,
barista.
you can.
If you want to look like a greaser, you can look like a greaser. Cheerleader, prep, nerd, imperial, heavy armor, absolutely nothing. Oh, here's a shirt that gives you tattoos. Oh, look, boots with the fur.
I love one of the shirts you get in the manor that has the tattoos. I love that one.
Yes.
Also,
I think I
just
have that one.
for some like for a reference, as a reference for some of the outfits in Lightning Returns, like full on raver.
I love it.
I love Lightning so much. Okay, but some of these were just not that cute. But that suit.
I want to tell you the wedding dress of Final Fantasy 14 is very special to me because I actually made that dress.
That's amazing.
Made that dress and I went to FanFest and I entered the contest. I got in the top 20 with it.
Hell yeah, you did.
Congrats.
That dress made me cry so many times.
Cry
I could have
because of
flooded the world.
Cry because of stress or
Yes.
cry? Yeah.
It was like trying to find a design because it's a video game. I took so many screenshots and there's so much lace and so much design on it. And yeah, I wore I think 2 petticoats. No, I wore 2 hoop skirts and a petticoat just to get that fullness. And I wasn't tripping on it. The wig, the ears were sewn onto the wig. The veil was long. Everything was custom. The beading on the top, like you would think that was one like whole dress. That was 3 separate pieces that I don't even know what type of magical costuming goddess I prayed to, but to be able to recreate that and finding the right fabric and finding the colors that match, it was so hard.
Hey, perseverance really paid off.
I'm gonna see if I can find a picture I can link for you guys. So give me a sec.
Yes. Is there only one wedding dress for Final Fantasy 14?
Yes, one official wedding dress.
Yeah, there's things I'm sure you could like dye and whatever to make it look like a wedding dress.
I wonder if they have a costume. This is the official Final Fantasy 14 wedding dress. And for instead of spending all that, you could have spent like $3 and get yourself the knockoff dress.
And it's but yeah, there is just the one, and when you get married in game, you get that dress.
Huh.
I just want to I want to get married in game just so I can have the dress. I actually don't want to be married to anybody. I'll be like, we got
also
married.
get the chocobo.
I want it. I want all of it, but then I just want to immediately get divorced.
I mean, you can. All you gotta do is just go turn your ring in.
So this is mild. This is actually off topic, but in Japan, there's actually a whole thing where you can get married. Sort of. You like have everything associated with the wedding, like you walk down the aisle, the ceremony, the reception, all of the, the things, the honeymoon, but there's no groom. It's just you. And you get to feel like a princess and you get to have like all the beautiful stuff and be pampered, but you're not married.
It's the self-love combo.
Yeah. I was
God,
like,
if only.
I'd do that. You get it's a thing that they actually have in Japan, and you get to like they'll help you book honeymoons and stuff.
A honeymoon for one.
Honeymoon for one.
Sounds to me like it's just a vacation.
Sounds like every day to me.
It's a vacation.
Should we move on to 15?
Over to 15. Yes. So
One
My
of the
boys.
most boring fashion games ever.
Do you like wearing black? If so, this game is for you.
Brandon, we're not gonna shit on 15, I think Kate likes it.
Hey,
I
they're all wearing
do.
black.
but 15 went with in a completely much like 8 did in the 90s and later 13 did in the 2000s. 15 went back to a more modern aesthetic.
They also hired actual fashion designers to create the outfits and Luna's ugly ass wedding dress.
I hate that dress with so much passion.
It's just so boring in the pantheon of Final Fantasy wedding dresses.
Look, the skirt, the whole bodice of skirt worked. It did. The arm thingies need to be burned.
I just thought it didn't fit her style because they put her in all of these very like slim form-fitting things, and then she got like a weird poofy wedding dress, but
No, I
whatever.
get that too. It goes against the grain of like what they're trying to portray of like her aesthetic, quote unquote, which is also another reason, like you said, why it doesn't work. Okay, if you're trying to get consistency in a character of their dress, their style, their look, everything, you have to keep it consistent. You can't just like it'd be like, let's take Leo and dress him in suits, and then next thing we know, we put him in dirty overalls with no shirt. And that's his quote unquote wedding gear.
Wait, isn't that just Leo's calendar?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm
The
Mr.
upcoming Leo
September in this one.
It's his Sunday standard.
But yeah, like I feel like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't talk. I don't have many nice things to say about
Her
15.
Death Day outfit is honestly the best one, and it should have been her wedding dress.
I feel like her Kingsglaive outfit was everything.
Mm-hmm.
Her Kingsglaive outfit was incredible. It had detail. She had the detachable back piece that gave her a train that was like layers upon layers of chiffon that would murder anybody to make. God, the Kingsglaive outfits were actually really like clever and unique, and I loved her Kingsglaive dress so much. Yeah, they really got some modern day fashion designers to create the outfits. And I feel like personally that took away a lot of the magic that comes with Final Fantasy costuming.
I don't know, man. I liked that cup noodle hat.
The Chocobo shirt.
I want to ride my chocobo all day.
I found it. There you go.
We're not going to talk about how Prompto is best boy, because he is.
Best boy.
He is.
Prompto just reminds me of Prompto corn dogs.
I want to ride my chocobo all day.
So there was one time where he started singing that, and then immediately there were Imperials above us, so he started shouting Imperials above us. It was hilarious.
I just want to note that I'm very butthurt that I didn't get the pink chocobo, but Iris did.
Yeah.
It upset me. But I'm gonna call this one out. Aranea for the win.
Oh, she looks so good. She's wearing some good ass dragoon armor
Mixed with a like pseudo skirt dress kind of thing going on. It works really nicely.
Yeah. I mean, she got like probably the closest to a classic dragoon look. Oh my god, Sammy, that is beautiful.
Yay. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
That took me 9 months.
Dude, I bet.
All those
Well, that's
beads.
a Final Fantasy 14 wedding dress. Still.
It is my baby, yes.
Literally.
It is my baby. All the beading you see on the skirt and everything was all done by hand. The flowers were done by hand. The bolero was done by hand. Everything you see, I sewed and did by hand. The beading on the chest, oh my god.
Yeah, well, it definitely paid off. It looks beautiful.
It looks
Thank you.
amazing.
I want to cry just looking at it.
But yeah, so I feel like Aranea definitely has like what could be considered like the closest to a traditional Final Fantasy job outfit. And she does look very much like a dragoon. I think Arden actually has a very interesting costume, even though they made his jacket look like it was made out of like old curtains.
He feels like a red mage.
He does, but also I feel like, I don't know, because when you learn like who he is and like his backstory, it kind of makes sense that his stuff isn't like, you know, perfectly neat and trim and tidy and everything. Like there's a lot going on in there, and not all like there's not a lot good going on in there. Like not in the sense that I hate the game, but in the sense that he's had a lot of shit happen to him. And so when you finally like when you see that he's not as tidy and trim and everything, like it makes sense for who he is as a character.
No, I feel like his outfit really does fit his character. Like,
oh my
the
god,
end.
Kate, have you seen the Kingsglaive movie?
Yeah.
You know Arden's one wing sleeve?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a I think that's a I don't know for sure, but I think that's a Sephiroth.
That's gotta be a Sephiroth.
Yeah,
Of course
here
it is.
is I'm trying to get a good quality picture of it, but there aren't very many. Oh, here we go. Okay, it's small, but his outfit is very similar between the game and the movie, but they did add that like wing thing on his arm, and I thought that that was really cool. But yeah, so I really liked, I think he had a really good design, and there are like little touches to the outfits that I think really lend to the personalities of the characters. Like Prompto is a little bit more of like the punk type, you know, and he's got the bandana tied around his upper arm, and you know, he's kind of got like that look to him. And you
He's
know,
also
Ignis
the only
is
character with color in his outfit.
They're in a boy band, leave them alone.
See, that was my first
that.
thought when Final Fantasy 15 came out. Like
that was everyone's first thought.
So this is a pretty much. So this is a boy band. Is that what's happening here?
Well, this is why they do have alternate outfits that you can put them in that actually give them a little bit of color, but also there's a really massive amounts of mods that make them look really good in different colors. But Ignis is like the royal retainer for Noctis, and so you know he's always had to be very like he's held to a higher standard. So he does wear the suit. You know, that's done up pretty much all the way. I think he learned how to like unbutton a button or two on his button-up shirt. You know,
you can drop a button. How?
Can we talk about how no mechanic should be wearing what Cindy is wearing? That is so dangerous.
She should not be near a car without a jumpsuit. And like, I'm gonna say it, I don't care about the bikini top. If she like, maybe she gets hot and she like ties that around her waist or something, but she should not be wearing denim panties, a jacket, like a cropped jacket, and a bikini top. I like, what's wrong with a white shirt and some grease monkey jumpers?
Yeah, you're gonna want a jumper if you're working on cars. That's just what the heck?
Get, besides the fact that you're gonna get like grease and oil and stuff everywhere, like you're working on a hot car. Like chances of you being burnt might be high.
I just want to note that while Sydney was cleaning my windshield, I saw her walking by in the background. And I'm pretty sure I hit the share button because I'm like, that's perfect.
See, I
Good
think
for her. She's multitasking.
For Sydney's look, I'm always like, you know what, one or two of these things, that's fine. Like, that's fine to go with it. But all of it,
yeah, like
just if you've ever worked on a car, not great.
I'm also briefly going to call out the developers on it because they did make a statement when people were like, whoa, Cindy's outfit's a little like revealing. And they're like, and basically calling them out for saying that she is only meant to be eye candy or whatever. And they were like, well, she was not created with the intent of being eye candy. I'm sorry, your
You're a
intent
liar.
doesn't come across that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it doesn't matter if your intention was for her to not be eye candy without anybody knowing that that's not the case. That's what she is.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like,
it's very reductive to her personality, and I don't like that the developers couldn't just fess up and say we did it for the fan service and tried to make some sort of excuse out of it. Anyway, Cindy should have real overalls or coveralls.
Yes.
coveralls.
Although I would even take overalls.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's weird when your bikini top is the least the least problematic of this outfit.
Yeah, because she could, if she
Yeah.
was wearing like the jumper, she could just
Yeah, I got you.
button or zip it up. But
I love the gender bent Cindy designs though, because like they keep them in the booty shorts. It's freaking hilarious.
I love that.
And so I don't think we have anything else on 15. After that, we go on to the next one and the last of the Final Fantasy numbers, this FF16, which is the most
Easily in
recent
my
one.
top 3 Final Fantasies. I love it so much. I thought it was so good. And I feel like the outfits are so good. I really love it. They're practical for what they're doing, but they also have that Final Fantasy flair. So, Clive is in, he's in like leather because he does do a lot of like, like he is in battles and stuff. So he's got a few armor pieces, but he's in the leather because he's moving around and stuff. And but they're always using magic too, so they get to have like that distance. Jill is stunning, and it fits her. She is covered neck to toe for a reason. It's an in-game reason, and it's really interesting. And I'm glad that
I gotta say this. I love Jill's big dress because you haven't seen a big dress like that since like
it's
what,
not
10?
big.
Well, it's flowy, but it's, how do I want to say? So it's large and flowy because it goes almost all the way to the bottom to the floor, right?
Yeah, she's got leggings on underneath.
Yeah,
And
but the
she's
thing
got her boots, which are thigh high.
So correct me if I'm wrong. If they're pleated, it makes it easier for it to not be in your way or for you to not.
It doesn't have to be pleated. Any skirt can give you movement if it's done well. Pleating will just give you more flowiness and a lot of, movement. I think that honestly her skirt being pleated is probably just a decorative idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I just sent an image.
Look, I'm just saying, Jill's got a fight on at 8:00 and a dance party at 9, and it doesn't have to change.
She also got an alternate costume that is beautiful.
That's very reminiscent of the fact that she is a dominant of Shiva. Same with why Clive has
like the magma look running
the
through
burnt
him.
torn armor kind of look because the dominant of Ifrit.
Yeah.
So that's one of the cool things. Isn't there fashion in that one? The aesthetic is designed around the summons.
A little bit.
Not totally. But
it's general aesthetic, yes.
Because you're not like, I wouldn't say that you could look at Barnabas and be like, oh, I know what he's the dominant of.
True, but the regal kind of feel on it feels like a royalty kind of look when he's even not in armor.
No, and I get that. I just feel like I would never. I don't feel like initially I would have looked at Jill and been like, Shiva, or looked at. Well, no, Hugo and Titan makes complete sense.
I was gonna say,
look at their color palettes. Their clothing color palettes are what really draw that in. You have nothing but tans and browns and earthy tone thing going with Hugo. You've got the red leather accenting on Clive and the red scarf for Joshua. And then you've got the white and blue for Jill.
Oh, Okay, I can see it. I still okay.
And then you've got the scale armor that is on Dion, which is
yes.
supposed to be like, I'm a dragon.
Yes, and he is a dragoon too.
Yeah.
Benedicta also looks great. Like,
Yeah,
she has
and-
a little bit more of a collar, but she's still covered and she's still a warrior kind of
So
look.
Yes, I love Benedicta.
the feathering is also like the collar is all feathers.
All right, you don't have to keep reaching. I'm kidding.
And it's also very lightweight outfit and flowy looking. Therefore, Garuda. Anyway,
her outfit is not lightweight and flowy. Her outfit is
okay,
skin
not
tight.
flowy, but very thin looking material. How's
It's
that?
leather.
It's leather.
The skirty part is very thin, though, I think.
Yes. I'll give you that.
Looks-ish.
So, that reminds me of something. There was a thing I did some research on. So, have you guys ever heard of boiled leather?
Yes.
Yes, you eat it.
I mean, you can. So,
Are you okay?
what are you doing? We're not allowed to get Kate's alternate outfit. They won't stop eating it.
Look, if you're starving, boil leather. You can eat that.
So back in the day, in the I'd say around the pre-Renaissance era, so you had boiled leather and you also had studded leather. Okay, studded leather had studs in it to reinforce it and tighten leather and make it tougher armor. So with the right type of boiling, though, you could make leather as strong as chainmail. And so so a lot of that's why you see in like high fantasies and things this sort of weird case of where people are wearing a lot of leather. There's a reason behind that because there was a point where people would just wear leather as leather armor instead of chainmail because it's easier to make and it's easier to get your hands on. And you can make it super fashionable if you know what you're doing with it.
Well, the costuming of 16 is really good. I would say that potentially... No, I would even say... So Mid is an engineer, but she's not, like... She could probably stand to put on a jacket.
And get a haircut, maybe.
No, her braid makes it everything.
That
At least
girl's
she has
never
it
had a
tied
haircut.
back. At least she has it tied back, though.
Mhm.
But she's an architect and a my god, what am I trying to say? Engineer.
Which
So
character is this?
Mididol,
Mididol, but it's Mid. Just type in Mid.
which is a reference to Final Fantasy V.
And there's other Mids than just her.
Okay.
They're always somehow related to Sid. She's Sid's adopted daughter in 16.
Is she wearing
Like a silk tank top and leather pants?
Yeah, like a undershirt?
Yeah, it looks kind of like a camisole or like a night dress or like a night.
It does look like a nightshirt.
Yeah, but yeah, because it's got like that very like sort of intimate feel to it. But yeah, I think she's like one of my favorites.
Definitely looks like she forgot to put her shirt on over it.
Oh yeah, she could probably stand to, put the rest of her clothes on, but
it's not a bikini under a hot engine, so I'll forgive it.
Yeah, plus she's like one of the best characters. She's so cute.
All right. So I think at this point we managed to get through all of this Final Fantasy.
What?
All the
things and
numbered
all their
Final
clothing.
Fantasies. Definitely did not get through all the Final Fantasies.
No, we did not get through all the Final Fantasies. There was so much Final Fantasies. And
so much more.
So many.
Next time we go through the Chocobo Dungeon series.
Oh dear God.
So with this being the thing, like you have a large array of outfits that you can pick and choose from just your own favorite Final Fantasy game alone. And they're always pretty good. No, always. So they're mostly pretty good outfits and fashionable. But also there's a whole lot of dumpster fire outfits too.
Looking at you like
trash cans.
12.
And as we've learned and established through this, gaming theater is pro. If one person's getting a midriff, everyone can have a midriff. This can't protect you. Don't care.
You
On that
get
note,
it
I will not be wearing
away.
one.
No, you have
I
to.
will not be either. So
Hey, it's part of the I might. It's part of the
No.
military outfit, and if it gives
I
me enough
also-
bonuses, I don't care.
I also will not.
You know what,
Nobody
Leo?
wants
If you
to.
do it, I'll do it.
Yeah. No one tell Ben. He'll just do it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you might not even have to tell Ben. He'll just show up in a crop top.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh man. If I was a class, I would probably be straight up a warrior, but I think I would go 16's look. That is a cool look.
oh
Yeah.
man, give me the dragoon outfit.
All right, so before we close this out, now that you have an option for every single Final Fantasy of a costume for it, and I'm not going to say best costume because personally I will always pick the FF14 wedding dress because Moontastical made one, and I got hands down on that one.
You can
Yay!
you can like a different outfit than what somebody cosplayed.
Yeah, Leo.
I can. I choose not to. You top tier for me. But if you could pick an outfit that you want to grab from any of the characters and their class, which one would you pick before we close this out?
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun on that one.
Well, we've jumped the gun. Remember, I was already there. I if I have to go fighter, if I'm going to go with the classes of a fighter, which I probably would be. Ooh, no. I would do engineer, but I would do Edgar's as the engineer class from Final Fantasy VI.
Yes.
Yes, I say yes.
But I think we're going for outfit more than class, right?
Outfit and class to define the outfit. So you got to go with both. You take the good and the bad.
Lightning's purple suit.
Dancer.
Which dancer?
14 dancer.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
I would probably do 14 Gunbreaker.
Hell yeah.
All right, if I'm picking a 14 class, either 14 red mage or 14 botanist.
Like 14's is its own little category, but I stand by my statement.
I mean, like, you can literally dress as Noctis in it too, so like everybody is present there.
So what are you going to say? It's just a matter of time before the 16 outfits start popping up in there?
They're already in
Yes.
there. They're already in there.
Leo,
Okay.
I have multiple different Magitechs that I ride in that game.
But I think this wraps it up for that. So yeah, Final Fantasies are great with keeping up its aesthetics and making its characters try to fit as best as it can for a lot of their aesthetics. Good and ill, depending on who's the designing of it. That being said, our next episode will be... when is this one coming out? Our next episode will be 2 weeks from this episode, on a Friday of some sort. Possibly the first or the third Friday of some part of the month. Depending on when other episodes are released. Yeah, you know what? I think that's the ballpark right there. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Odds are, though, the next episode's probably going to end up being November 17th. And if we're not here at November 17th, there's probably a really good reason. With all that being said, this is Gaming Theater Podcast. Logging out. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
Gaming Theater Podcast is hosted, created, produced, and edited by Leo Garcia, the Geek Scorpio. Our music is A Drinking Game. Stock media provided by Stormwave Audio / Pond 5. Photo of Final Fantasy XIV wedding dress provided by Moontastical. If you want to send us some financial support to help with producing things for Gaming Theater, you can do so at patreon.com/gamingtheaterpresents. It helps us out. Want to send support that doesn't hit your wallet? Please leave a review with wherever you hear your podcasts and share our podcast with your friends. It really helps out. Thank you for listening.